Hello, hello.
Oh, hello.
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 All right. So we're on with Towlot, and we're on with Zui. And now, am I saying your name right? Is it Zui or Zwei?
Oh no, you're saying the first one's right. It's
Zui.
Zui.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's 3 letters, but I pronounce things very poorly, so I always like to check. So we're joined by 2 Reapers this time, and we're going to try something a little different. We're going to go through some of the questions that you guys have, as well as kind of addressing some maybe common Reaper topics that people like talking about. And since we've got 2 experts on the line, we can get double the information. So hopefully this will be very educating for you guys. All right. So first off, let's introduce Towlot. Jumping around, we're on the same server as you. We're on MT. Towlot, give us a little introduction about yourself. How long have you been playing TERA, and then how long have you been playing a Reaper?
I've been playing TERA since 2013, and I played Reaper since the release of Reaper.
Awesome. Okay, so pretty much just since the very beginning then, huh?
Yep.
All right. And why do you play the Reaper? What makes it so interesting to you?
For me, it was just seeing that Reaper had less skills to learn, so I could get good at Reaper first, because I wasn't that good at Warrior at the start.
That's fair. So you just you identify that this class has different skills. I understand them a little better. Let me master that one before Warrior.
Yeah.
Now, do you still go back and play your Warrior then?
No, not really. I'm kind of addicted to Reaper right now.
Are you a one class kind of guy?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. All right, and Zui, how about you? How long have you been playing TERA, and then when did you decide to pick up the Reaper?
You know the great part about having Towlot answer first is that he kind of answered a lot of my questions for me. I started around the same time as him, and I've been playing Reaper since Reaper was released here.
Okay. Very good, very good. And then why did you play Reaper? Is it the same thing? You played a Warrior? No.
Actually, yeah, you know, I had a Warrior. I played D-Stance Warrior, but that's not the reason. It's actually because the class has so many gimmicks, and I love gimmicky classes. But we can get more to that once we like cover skills and such.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Now, I don't know what guild Zui is in, but Towlot, I see you are in Manifest. How long have you been in Manifest?
I think this second week of the second season for Sky Castles.
Okay, so not too long.
Yeah.
And Zui, are you in a guild?
Yes, I am. I'm in a challenge in TR. I believe we placed first in the last season.
How long have you been in that guild?
I think it's been like almost 2 years now.
Oh, wow, okay. So you've been in a guild for quite a while then, or in that guild specifically.
Uh-huh.
Very cool. Okay. So we're talking about PvP, and I always like to kind of wrap it in just a understanding of what you guys have accomplished, and I air quote accomplished, in PvP, what you guys have participated in specifically. So Towlot, starting with you, what have you participated in terms of maybe tournaments, or if you want to talk about your prowess in threes and how good you are there, something like that.
Well, really, I'm just like the CS master of Mount Tyrannus right now. Just get rank 1 every season now.
Okay. So CS Reaper questions, they should all come to you.
Yeah, basically, I guess.
And Zui, how about you?
Well, not too many accomplishments on my Reaper, but I did play Sork back then, and I believe I was in Mana, and we were actually the first and only guild in Tempest Reach to make it into Canyon Clash. I forget which Canyon Clash it was. It's maybe like 13, I believe.
It's probably the first one then, because we've had 3, and the first one, I think we only had 1 team from TR apply.
But yeah, we were that one wildcard team, and then kind of lost, but at least we got there. As for my Reaper, I'm pretty much just a really big 1v1 hero. Yeah.
1v1 hero. All right, cool. So, I mean, it's good that we have a wide range of, because we'll talk about each specific situation, because everybody focuses on a different piece of PvP, so that's pretty cool to have too. All right, so let's talk about just, I guess, Reaper in general. I always like a brief introduction to Reaper and why it's such a good class. If you were to sell Reaper to a person who maybe just knows a little bit about TERA, what would you say about it? Towlot, we'll start with you.
I guess you could say high DPS but low risk.
Okay. And Zooey, how about you?
Pretty much the same thing that Tala said. It's high DPS, low risk, and also you could kind of play. The fact that Reaper is ranged and also has a lot of melee options too. You kind of determine if you want to play at a distance or if you want to play up close.
It's very cool. And once we get through some of the skills, people who maybe are new to Reaper will understand how flashy they look too. So that'll be cool to show. All right, so I want to briefly go through some of the gear stuff so that we can get into more of the meat. Since I've got both of you guys on, I want to utilize that and talk about some more specific Reaper-related questions or discussion. But just starting off, we'll start with crystals. I am going to inspect Towlot since I'm on with here, but Zooey, if you wanted to chime in at all as well, just talking about crystals. Let's start with weapon crystals, and I'll hover my mouse over each of your weapon crystals, Towlot. Is there, in this whole list, a lot of times this is self-explanatory, so if you feel that there's any specific thing that you could be talking about for PvP, like if a crystal works better in 3s, Corsairs, 1v1s, or that kind of stuff, this would be a good chance to talk about it. But so do you have any input on these crystals, and I'll kind of hover through them.
For the Cruel Crystal, you could replace that with Carving usually, especially when you're not running Carving Zerks in EQ gear.
And then we got Swift, Savage, and Salivating. Are those pretty much par for the course for Reapers then in PvP?
Swift is really only good if you're running a glyph for Shadow Step, which gives plus 50 move speed during combat, I think.
Oh, okay. So if you're not running that, then probably switch Swift. What would you recommend switching Swift with then?
I would usually switch it with Forceful.
Okay. All right, and then in the chest we see Relentless, 2 Relentless actually, 1 Resolute, and 1 Grieving. The Resolute is interesting to me. Sometimes I see Grieving, but the Resolute, why take Resolute? What's the benefit to this over just straight HP?
Synergizes really well with your Reaper passive, which is 50% damage reduction, so it's almost 60% when you're at a critical hit, I believe.
Okay, all right, so that makes sense. So running that, because of that Reaper passive, it just makes it so much better.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. And then, of course, Zooey, if you've got anything to chime in on, feel free.
Oh no, those crystals are great. He actually showed me his setup before the stream actually began.
Okay.
And yeah, that was one of the things that we discussed too. Because Reaper enters 50% twice almost, because if you kill them once, they come back with HP back. They're below 50% again, and then so you just really get double usage of that fine Resolute. And yeah.
Okay, good to know. Because I usually don't see. I've done a handful of these streams, but I usually don't see Resolute in the loadout. So that's interesting. That's cool to know. Good to know. Thank you.
I believe Flo runs Resolute too.
On Slayer?
Yeah.
Oh.
Could have sworn you ran.
Interesting. Okay. Maybe we'll have to find out from Flo a different time why Resolute in there, because that's always interesting to hear.
Or was it Mudkip? It was Mudkip, I think. Yeah.
I think if Mudkip had it, I'm sure we explained it last time we had him on, which was last Wednesday. So if anybody wants to see those streams, make sure you check them out. All right. Now for the accessories, we see Grieving Zerks in your earrings and in your rings currently, and I remember that was something that we wanted to talk about. So why pick Grieving?
Usually because I rely on Mystics and Priest buffs. When the Mystic turns on the Aura, it's like a ton of crit rate, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so the alternative then, what we mentioned before was the alternative was Carving. So I guess if you were maybe doing 1v1 Zooey, would you still be running Grieving, or would you switch it to Carving?
Hands down Carving, because you don't have that assist from Mystics. Big numbers come from crits, and crits come from Carving.
Okay.
So with that logic, yeah, I'd probably run 4 Carving for duels.
Now, would you run 4 Carving in 3s with a Priest, or do you typically even run with Priests in 3s?
To be honest, it all comes down to preference. I feel that my RNG sucks, so I do use carving in threes too. Um, but yeah, I actually talked to Towlot about this before the stream too. But if I were to have a Mystic on my team, I'd probably switch out a few of my carvings for grieving.
Okay, so that's good to know. Like, if you get into Corsairs, for example, and you're looking at your class list and you see a Mystic, maybe you can switch out some of those Zerks, or if you're partying with people. Good to know. All right, so we're going to talk about the gear a little bit as well. We've got the weapons and accessories and all that kind of stuff, so we'll just quickly go through here. Like I like to say this, that some of it is very self-explanatory, but if there are pieces that you'd like to either bring up or maybe a role that you don't have correctly, that's always something to call out real quick. And of course, Towlot, since I'm inspecting you, we'll kind of focus on that for now. And we'll start with accessories and earrings. So we're looking at the Deathwise hoop. I see resistance to stun and then duration of stun effects. Is that pretty much what Reaper should be going for in PvP?
Usually, yeah. Except I would probably switch out the stun resistance with max HP.
Okay. And let's see. I think you might have that. You do have that on the fire beat, so you rolled for that. Or no, you have recover. So what about on the fire beat? Is the recover just kind of in between rolls then, or is recover still really good for that piece?
No, I generally want the more max HP. These are just I ran out of gold doing this.
Okay. So if you had your choice, you would have fire beat with max HP and duration of stun effects, and then you would have Deathwise with the same rolls, HP and stun effects.
Yep.
Okay. And on the rings, I see increased periodic damage on opponents by 5.4%, and then increased crit damage by 0.04. Is the periodic damage, did you mean to get that? And if so, why?
No, it's just I would personally have plus crit rate on that with the crit damage because it synergizes really good.
Okay. So crit damage, crit rate on that ring, and I believe you do have crit rate and then healing by 2% on the other. So probably crit damage, crit rate on both rings then?
Yep.
Okay. Pretty much shares that with most PvP, or most damage dealing classes, it seems. Yeah, got the healing skills. The rolls are not in your favor.
Healing actually can somewhat work with the Reaper because of Whipsaw. It actually affects Whipsaw's heal. You heal a lot more from Whipsaw with that roll.
So it's not the worst.
Yeah, it's not completely useless.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to the weapon here. I see the energetic etching, and then I see cooldown, crit damage. Those are all kind of self-explanatory. More damage from behind, crit rate. So I want to talk about cooldown. Is cooldown very important, and how important, I guess, is attack speed for rolls for Reaper?
Generally, cooldown reduction is great because your bread and butter skills, Pendulum Strike and Whipsaw, are about 15 seconds without glyphs. Basically, the more cooldown reduction you get, the better it is.
Okay. And then I see the energetic etching for attack speed. Is there a certain amount of attack speed that Reaper should be looking for in PvP?
I would say to aim around plus 39.
Attack speed actually varies. It depends on what your ping is. I know another Reaper on my server who can just run perfectly fine with 32 attack speed because they have really low ping. But for me, I need like around 36 attack speed to do something as simple as Pendulum to Whipsaw. Without 36, I can't even do that because my ping is so high.
So 36?
It depends on the ping again.
36, 39. Okay. So that's probably a good number to shoot for then, is in the 30s.
Yeah, you just kind of want to mess around, test your skills, see which ones connect. If they're not connecting, then that means your attack speed is too low. So you want to pump it up until you can actually get those skills like Double Shear, Pendulum, Whipsaw. If you want that to connect, just mess with attack speed until it does, pretty much.
Interesting. Okay, so the attack speed is kind of it's interesting because I haven't heard a lot of discussion about that, but it is related to your connection, your ping a little bit, and you just have to feel it out, figure it out.
Right, we'll probably go over that in combos, but there's like basic bread and butter combos for Reapers, and It just it's not it's not like spacebar spacebar spacebar. You actually need a certain amount of attack speed before you can actually do it. Well, besides one other bread and butter, which everyone knows, but we'll go over that later.
Sure. Okay. Just looking at boots here. I'm just going to hover over these and we can kind of move along to some of the more detailed pieces. If there are any things that you wanted to bring up for any of these pieces, feel free to let me know. I'll just hover over them and we'll kind of move forward here.
Okay, starting with my weapon, I would generally replace the crit rate with +6 damage from attacks in general.
Okay. Is there a certain crit rate then that Reaper should be searching for? We talked about attack speed, but what about crit rate?
I would say around like 120 would be good if you have like a mystic.
Okay. So you would go with replacing the crit rate with just damage to all. Is that pretty much the preferred loadout then? Would be cooldown percentage, crit damage, more damage from behind, and then what we talked about? Is that like the preferred roles for the weapon?
Yes.
Okay. And then we'll hover over the chest piece here. Decrease cooldown of Shadow Step. Looks like that's the goal, or the one you rolled for on the chest piece for skill change. Is that typical?
Somewhat typical, but a lot of people love using Grim Strike over it.
Well, actually nowadays I've noticed a lot of people run Shadow Burst damage. Yeah, Shadow Burst damage is another good one to roll, but I actually don't disagree with Shadow Step, just because I use it so much. Actually, a lot of Reapers use Shadow Step a lot, so it's just typically nice to have lower cooldown on it.
Fair enough. That's cool. That's there's actually 3 different. So many classes have just one that everybody recommends that you get, but it's nice that Reapers can have a little bit of variation. And it sounds like since there's some contention, or some maybe not contention, but some question on whether or not Shadow Step is best, that players can kind of find what works best for them, especially in these larger battlegrounds. I think that's pretty cool. All right, and then moving on to the gloves here as well. Attack speed, crit rate, and power. And then we didn't go over necklace, so we'll go to necklace here. Crit rate, crit, and then another crit rate. So you actually roll double crit rate, or you have 2 crit rate on there. Is there anything other roll that you'd actually go for on the necklace?
No, I generally need more crit rate because I build more for power.
Okay.
And attack speed.
And then on brooch, power and power. And then on the belt, crit rate and crit rate. All right, so that pretty much covers the gear, and I think the unmentionables could probably be replaced. I think I've got on me, I've got the satin, which is power. Would you recommend a different role, I guess, for your innerwear?
I would recommend crit rate over power, honestly.
Okay. I think I have one, actually.
I want to touch shortly about my boots and chest rolls.
Yeah, absolutely.
Generally, on Reaper chest piece, you want 6% damage reduction, 6.9 from knockdown, max HP increased by 8%, and 6.9% less from frontal attacks.
Okay, so that's typically a better loadout for Reapers in. Would you say in all forms of PvP, or would you say that it works well for just one or the other?
All forms of PvP benefit from these rolls.
Okay.
Well, actually for duels, you kind of just want to run everything regen, if you want to be like that.
HP rolls, man, like HP regen.
Yeah, like if you want to, if you're really playing to win, then you run regen on your earrings, regen on your shoes, regen on your armor, and then you just literally kite. That's if you really
nightmares, man.
That's if you really want to win, though.
Oh man, I gotta give a shout out to my boy Solid for all those HP regen rolls, man.
Oh, jeez. Okay. So if someone wants to be just a 1v1 master, just go for healing.
Yep.
All right. All right, so you said you wanted to touch on the chess piece. What else did you want to touch on?
The boots.
Boots, okay. So we got balance factor, HP recovery, and slowing effects.
You generally want increased movement speed by 10%, endurance by 4%, and decrease of slow effects by 24%.
Ah, okay. All right. So unless we had any more to talk about with the gear, let's move on to, I think, what's probably going to be the the better part of the whole stream, because we have two people on, which is always really cool because I want to hear some back and forth discussion on some of this stuff. So let's talk about player mentality, how players should be playing Reapers in PvP. I know you guys have been talking back and forth a good amount before the stream. I haven't seen anything what you guys are talking about, so let's get into it. Let's talk about I just want to go through in, if you guys want to steer the conversation, of course, towards anything else, feel free. But I wanted to start with, since we have a self-proclaimed 1v1 master on stream, how should Reapers be approaching 1v1s?
Honestly, it all comes down to the class you're playing. Like, if you were to fight someone like Lancers, it depends on the Lancer as well. If they're running regen, and you're not going to win. If you're fighting a Lancer running all regions, and they're just, like, using their second wind, it's just, like, why would you even fight that in a duel? Especially if they're also using Rallying Cry. So, but if you're fighting, like, like, on good terms, another Lancer, you kind of want to play at the mid-range game. You don't want to play too close to them. You want to keep them zoned out with your staggers because, they have to hold their block. You also can burn their resolve with Whipsaw. So it all comes down to whittling down the Lancer at a range and then going in once you can, then getting back out and doing the same thing over again. Because Reapers have a lot of tools that kind of, get you in and get you out, and also burn resolve. So you just put that all together and just slowly whittle down that Lancer.
Okay, so it's a war of attrition.
Right.
All
it's
right.
Like and then for Warriors, they're actually Reaper's hardest matchup in my opinion, because the thing about Reapers is we're really squishy, but we can avoid taking a lot of damage because of our tons of iframes. We can just dodge everything left and right. But Warriors have the most reliable way of just getting you in their combo. Just press backstab. I mean, sure, you can try to predict it and just spam iframes and try to like bait the backstab. But most of the time, backstab's gonna hit because that's just how the skill is. And then once the Warrior does get you a hold of the combo, it just like, because we're so squishy again, it does like 50% of your HP. And all they have to do is just wait it out for another backstab and do the same thing all over again. So in that case, you kind of wanna just make sure you trade properly with the Warrior. If they get their combo on you, you want to get your combo on them, because your combo in the end does more damage than what their combo does to you, because they're a Warrior. So it's just about landing your cables after they do their backstab and just trading properly, and you should come out on top at the end. Did you want to comment on that?
Nope.
You nailed it.
In terms of Slayers, I find Slayers to be one of our easiest matchups because their backstab is just, it's not like Warriors. We can easily just get out of it. We could just use Shadow Dash, and we're safe. You can use Pendulum. You can even turn around and stagger them with, Double Shear. So their backstab, or their form of just catching a combo, is not as reliable as the Warriors. So what you kind of do is you kind of wait for them to, you can either choose to wait for them to act on you or act on them. In the end, you save your iframes to kind of counter what they throw at you. And then once they're on cooldown, you kind of throw what you have on them. And because what our catch is a lot more reliable. Cable Step, it's a hit scan. You hit Cable Step, you're gonna get your combo regardless. Slayers, they have to work for their combo on Reapers, and it's really difficult. I'm sure Mudkip on your stream talked about how difficult Reapers were for Slayers. It's mostly because we can kind of just escape whatever they throw at us.
Mm-hmm. Would you consider, so I guess in a from the top down, what's the most difficult class for a Reaper to beat 1v1? Would you say it's Lancer?
Only if the Lancer is really, going back on with the whole regen thing, if the Lancer is really playing to win, you shouldn't be a Lancer. But if, everyone's playing, like fair game, I'd probably say Warrior is the hardest class to fight, just because they have that really reliable way of getting you locked down and doing the damage too.
Interesting.
But yeah, ranged classes like Sorks and Archers, they're typically on the easier side for Reapers as well.
When I had Painwheel on, I asked him about 1v1s, and he said that Reapers used to be an issue for Berserkers in 1v1s, but now he doesn't find them as much difficulty. Would you comment on that?
I actually saw that on the stream. He said something about when a Reaper does Retribution, you throw your, I believe it was translated tackle in our server. So you throw a tackle at them when they use Retribution, and it'll actually knock them down, despite it's supposed to, like, take a hit and you're supposed to just go to them. But what I actually do is I don't use Retribution a lot. Against Zerkers, I tend to really use Shadow Burst. Because Shadow Burst prevents me from being knocked down, it prevents me from being staggered. And their only real way of dealing with that is if they use if they use their only, like, they only have a single stun or a fear. That's their only way of getting around that. And both have a relatively long cooldown. Just eat tackles with Shadow Burst. You're always facing the front with Shadow Burst, so it's not going to do too much damage. The tackle, that is. So just avoid being, KD, and that's not a problem against Zerkers. And for Reapers. Like, I was doing threes, I think like a month ago, and I was fighting, I believe, Dork, and then he was focusing me, and he did auto attack, but I Shadow Bursted it, so I didn't get staggered. After that, he did Thunder Strike, but I Shadow Bursted it, and I didn't get knocked down. After that, I kind of zoned myself away from him using Shadow Dash, and then he threw a tackle at me, but I Shadow Bursted it, and I didn't get KD'd. So it's like, just eat all those KDs and put them on cooldown with your Shadow Burst.
So it's an avoidance game in 1v1 against Berserkers. You have to make sure that you avoid those KDs.
Don't fall to the floor against Zerkers.
Which could probably be a little hard to juggle for, especially for a new Reaper, I would assume.
Right.
But
yeah.
over time, you could probably get that down.
Yeah, we definitely... Oh, no. My bad. Go ahead. No, it's fine. I think I covered that enough.
Yeah. I mean, we covered a lot of the... And some of the questions came in from chat. How about Mystics and Priests? I mean, 1v1 against healers is probably not going to happen all that much out in the wild. So I'm actually going to toss this one over to Towlot, or Towlot, in Corsairs, in Freywind, in any example, I guess, of PvP, World PvP. When you get on a healer, what is the more difficult healer for you to fight?
I say they're about the same. You just really have to turn on Shadow Reaping, do Cable Step, Smite, Pendulum Strike, Whipsaw for like the whole duration, and you should probably get the kill.
Okay, so both are probably about equal.
Yeah.
Actually, can I comment on someone in the comments right now?
Absolutely.
So someone mentioned Shadow Burst has a lot of MP. I was actually accused a long time ago of macroing Shadow Burst because I kept using it, and it looked like it didn't cost MP. But actually, I run Glyph of Brilliance. It was like really recent with a Fate of Arun patch. We got that glyph, so it actually lowered the mana cost on Shadow Burst.
And I have your glyphs here, and I'll share it in chat.
Yeah, I actually run Glyph of Brilliance for Shadow Burst. That way it doesn't cost as much MP, and I can just really abuse it. It also depends on the class too. Like, I wouldn't use it against Slayers too much. It's mostly against Zerkers.
And for people watching on stream, I'm hovering my mouse over Brilliant Shadowburst Glyph. I don't have it unlocked. I don't usually go through and unlock all the glyphs. Instead, we just share them on the stream. So don't copy my glyph loadouts. Copy the glyph loadouts that we post in chat for these guys. Very interesting. Okay. Let's see. So I think we covered all of the different classes. I mean, you talked about range classes and stuff like that. So let's move on to, I guess, just PvP in Battlegrounds. So 3v3, Freywind, Corsairs. We can talk about Kumasylum if we want to, but typically Kumasylum is going to be a different game because you're not playing against another type of class. You're playing against a big fat Kumas. So let's start off with Freywind. We'll end with Champion Skyring since Skyring Slam is this weekend. Let's start with Freywind. Do you guys still participate in Freywind a good amount after Fate of Arun?
Yes.
And
so yes, I do.
What kind of mentality then should a new Reaper, or maybe even a Reaper now that needs a little help getting better at playing Reaper, what kind of mentality do you go at Freywind with, and then you can go as far as talking about combos, stuff like that you typically go through.
I guess I'll start first.
Yeah.
Generally, I would hug my Lancer as if it's my best friend, and then wait on the Giga, and then I would Shadow Reaping and just do all the general Whipsaw combo rotations.
And we'll go through the general whipsaw rotation. I don't know if you guys shared a rotation with me in the Skype chat. I didn't see one, but we'll probably go through some of those rotations in a moment here if we want to. Let's see here. So we'll go through. I guess Zui as well for Freywind. What kind of mentality do you go through? Is it the same feeling for you? Hug the Lancer.
Right. It's the same thing. You hug the Lancer when you all group up at Center Pyre, and you hope that they're the one that gets the Giga off, and you follow up without KDing them. You don't want to KD them right away.
Ah, okay. So it's a lot of playing off of that Lancer. So if you do queue up into Freywind, it's nice to have a friend Lancer with you, I would assume.
Right.
All right, and then Corsairs, Towlot. You were saying going for #1 in Corsairs. Share with us some wisdom. How are you so accomplished in Corsairs?
It's all about the secret strategy, Tonka.
Oh, I'm ready for it.
Yeah, that's gonna cost some money for me. 30K an hour.
Do you have a YouTube channel? I can link him to that. You can make money off of the advertisements and everything.
Nope.
Oh well, crap. So I guess we're not learning about Corsairs. Zui, how do you play in Corsairs?
Corsairs, I honestly, I don't play to win. I play to have fun and pick off people. What I usually do is I get into Northship with just a group of friends, and we just wreak havoc on them.
So basically, you just go for
PvP. I'm one of those people you don't want on your team.
So don't listen to him. If you're a new
don't
player,
don't listen to me.
If you're a new player, don't listen to Zui. You should be. So I'll give advice, typical advice. You should be with your team, and you should go for objectives. And you should get on turrets and defend if you're defending. Defend the ladders, and if you're attacking, you should be with your team, pushing. However they're pushing. If they're pushing a weird way, just as long as you're with them, usually that's going to give you a better chance than going off and doing crazy stuff like Zui here.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like I do a lot because, oh wow, that guy has a lot of kills. Well, so many assists, but, it's like I'm actually not helping what I should be helping.
Great. All right. So let's talk about Skyring then. Reapers. Last year, people talked about how Reapers were going to be everywhere not in Skyring because they came out after Skyring, but in Canyon Clash, and there were a lot of Reapers in there. How do you think? And I'll start off with this question, then we'll talk about threes in general. How do you think Reapers are going to affect this Skyring Slam?
I think they'll do the sick massive peels, and I don't know. Reapers are extremely strong this patch because of the 60% Whipsaw patch buff.
Mm-hmm. So would Reapers then, since last year we had a lot of 3 teams, most of them would run, or a lot of them would run Lancer, Healer, typically like a Priest in most cases, some Mystics, but Lancer, Priest, and then something else. Are Reapers going to be taking up that something else slot, and we're going to see a lot of Lancers, Reapers, and like Mystics?
Lancer Reaper, definitely. You're going to be seeing a lot of Lancer Reapers, hopefully. Because that is a really strong comp right there.
And for threes, what's a better healer then for that? Would it still be a Mystic? I mean, we talked about the crit buff for it, but is it still a Mystic in threes?
I would probably say Mystic. I don't know, my personal taste, because while Reapers do have the 60% increase damage buff, we're still I'm sure we could get that whipsaw from the back too, followed up by a Lancer. But, Sorks, Archers, I believe Archers still have a way bigger burst or a follow-up after a Lancer than what a Reaper does. So having that Mystic there with the extra crit really helps us out with our damage, just to guarantee that kill off of a Giga Leash.
Are we going to see a counter to Lancer Reaper? Is there a counter comp to the Lancer Reaper X comp?
Lancer Zerker.
Lancer Zerker?
Yep.
All right. And are Lancer Reaper just really powerful over everything then? Or like if they came up against a comp that was like Lancer Sork, for example, Are they going to have an easy time against that kind of a comp, or is it kind of a wash and down to skill?
I think it all comes down to the Lancer in the end. Lancer's the one that sets up all the plays, and then the Reaper's the one that kind of plays off the plays. So it really depends in the end. Sorks, they can do, they're really effective right now too. Reapers are really strong right now, but Sorks are strong too. It just depends in the end which Lancer gets the jump.
All right. All right, so let's talk about, I know one of the things that you guys were talking about before the stream was rotations. So let's talk about some of the typical Reaper rotations, something that maybe new players or current players alike could practice, try and get down, and then explain why those combos are so good.
I really wish I was in NT right now.
Just transfer right now, we'll wait for you. So we've got Towlot to demonstrate here.
You want me to just show the basic combinations right now?
Yeah. So show the basic combinations and explain what we're going through while you do those combos, and then we can break it down a little bit. Why is that combo good? What situations is it good for? That kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. I'll just duel you right now.
Sure.
Do you guys have it? Oh, my bad.
Wait, excuse me?
I was wondering if you guys had a healer up there.
We do not. I did not get a healer pointed. I have my GM behind me, but he's not going to do any healing.
Basically, what I would do, I would start off with a cable step into a smite. Then I would do this and just whipsaw. Then usually.
I was gonna say, that's a good like introduction combo that to get started into a fight.
Yes. Okay. Also, note on cable step is that when people walk at you, could you run at me, Tonka? It'll instantly turn you to their back, and you could do this too.
Ah, okay. So it's just a good way to get behind. Then you get the back damage with crystals, with the rolls on the gear as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
The great thing about Reaper is actually we can easily get to someone's back, even if like just with cable step. Because if you cable step and then put the inputs like WAS, you can actually kind of twirl around them after cable step, and then you'll be at their back too. Even if they're not running at you, even if they're stationary, if you're at their side, you can still get to their back. But
that's really true.
I wish I could demonstrate. Actually, Towlot could probably demonstrate that. You
generally
like, yeah.
Oh, I'll let you continue.
No. I was just saying that stun RNG on cable step, sometimes it's gonna not even let the smite confirm. So what I do is I cable step, and then I make a very small movement to their back for smite. And if they get out of that, it would have been short enough to not let me use smite in the beginning. So it's kind of like a check for smite. I check my cable step stun duration, see if it got affected by the RNG, and kind of if it's good, then I smite off of it. But you have to do it really fast. You can't actually just cable step and then wait and then smite. It's all really quick.
And that's what we talked a little bit about that earlier too. That's where you guys were talking about how ping has a big effect on how quickly you can get that combination off and the practice that you need to do with it.
Right. And the thing with Towlot's combo too is if you get them from the front, you can actually 180-degree turn your camera, pendulum to their back, and then use whipsaw to get their back damage.
Very good. Okay. So that's a good introduction combo. Are there any particular combos that you guys would use maybe in a specific situation in PvP that would be good for a player to learn?
Well, basically, if my whipsaw is off cooldown, I would generally... Oh, let me just wait for this duel to end.
Yeah. There we go.
Like, if Pendulum Strike and Whips are on cooldown, I would just do this. And then I would Retribution, hoping that you retaliate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm like watching the stream so I can catch up.
It shouldn't be too far behind. It should only be like 20 or 30 seconds. So typically, you would expect somebody to retaliate in that time. Do you cast the ability expecting a retaliate, or do you cast it after you feel like they are doing one? I know it's probably really hard to like tell whether or not they're going to do a retaliate. Is it just probably a good idea to do it all the time?
Yeah, I would just do it all the time.
Okay.
The great thing about that combo is that most people generally do mash retaliate when they hit the floor because they don't want to stay on the floor. So it works a majority of the time until someone you can fold them once, but you won't fold them twice most likely.
And that's where some players that are watching now may have a little bit of a benefit to themselves, is if you get that combo on you, maybe you wait on retaliate. I don't know. I think people have talked about that too, that sometimes you don't want to retaliate as soon as you're knocked down because of that counter play that can happen. So what would be the best, like the most damage, I guess, the most damage output in the preferable situation that Reapers can do? Has it already been one that you've demonstrated?
Branches off, but you have to use Shadow Reaping for this one.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
Which is like 3-minute cooldown, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll pull Shadow Reaping up so people can see. If they have not played a Reaper, we can read the tooltip.
There's actually a combo that's really strong for Reapers, but I guess I could just link you to my YouTube channel, and you could actually post that in the chat sometime.
Yeah, you can post it in the chat right now if you want to as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just go for it.
But yeah, and then I'm pretty sure Towlot knows the Shadow Reaping combo, and
Yep.
yeah, I'll show it to you. Tons of damage. It usually, if he's thinking what I'm thinking, it takes out healers from 100 to 0.
Is it the smite, cable step smite one?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to link your video first?
I would, but I don't have a Twitch channel. I don't have a Twitch channel.
Oh.
Yeah. Actually, I think someone linked it previously.
Did you have,
already.
was it the YouTube video that you linked earlier today? That one?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually linked 2 YouTube videos.
Yeah,
One is a combo.
That was the first one, I think, that you linked.
Yeah. But yeah, if you guys want to see it, just skip all the way to the end of the video. It's like the last combo there.
Was it that video that I just linked? In Skype chat.
Let's see. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. All right, so here is the combo that we're talking about, and this also links to your YouTube channel, so hit that subscribe button while you're there.
Yeah, I mean, I wish for the people commenting, I wish my internet was good to stream, but I play on like 120 ping, and I'd imagine it'd just be worse if I streamed.
That's too bad. One day, right?
One day.
Where do you live at?
California.
California. And Towlot, how about you? I usually like finding out where people are.
Vancouver, Canada?
Vancouver. All right, so you're close to us.
Yep.
See, I always make a comment about this. It's really interesting. We got 2 people on the stream, 1 Canadian, 1 American. We have so many Canadians that come on the Teach Me How To streams. It's really interesting to me. Canada represent. So there's the link in chat. I will post it one more time. The link
for the
to
promotion.
What's that?
Thank you for the promotion.
Oh, absolutely. You're coming on the stream. Might as well pimp some stuff out. I tried to pimp out Towlot's YouTube channel, but he doesn't have one. So maybe you should make one right now.
Maybe.
Did you have a Twitch stream?
Yes, but I don't really stream that much, but I do some solo 3s.
Okay. So we can link that one in a bit too. But so did you want to demonstrate the video link that we just had?
Sure. This is generally used on Priest instead of DPS.
So this is a good way to kind of take out an enemy priest,
Yeah.
Your healer, I guess.
And usually it would continue with the smite, then this again. But I don't have enough cooldown reduction to do that. Yeah. That's one problem of tier 2 energetics. If you're trying to do this combo, you must have tier 3.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So would you still say that it's okay to do without? It's still a good combo to do without, or would you recommend doing a different combo if you weren't running maybe the best gear and you were using tier 2s or tier 1s?
It's still good to try that because you can still get one whipsaw on them.
There's also a really reliable, easy combo that you can show them. It's like, I think it's like really similar to the Reaper spacebar combo. It's the one where you do Cable, Smite, Grimstrike, Sundering, and then you kind of wait for them to get back up, and then you try the same combo again, and if you could get that second combo again, it's a second KD. You knock them on the floor twice, so they're going to stay on the floor. You just Shadow Dash to them, and then do Shadow Burst for the third KD. So you do 3 KDs in a row.
Wow.
I wish I could show that.
You should just make
Excuse me?
videos for it. Just make videos, and then we'll pivot.
Oh, I actually do have a video of that one. It was like my very first Reaper video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, if you've got that, feel free to link it in chat. All right, so we've gone through some of these combos here. Did you guys want to cover any other combos before we move on? All right.
Other combos?
Yeah. Were there any other combos you guys wanted to cover before we move on?
I feel like it would just be boring listening to me talk. So yeah, Reaper is a really cool class because we have like so many combos. It's not like Lancers where we're just stuck to shield barrage, shield bash, and then wall up or something like that. We can just like be really flexible. Like Towlot's combo is really good too. Very standard, tons of DPS. And then you can also like go for more extravagant combos. But you know, it all depends on the moments of which combos you would use. Yeah.
All right.
My video covers a lot of the combos that I like to show. So thankfully I have that.
And it sounds like you've got a lot of different videos up on your YouTube channel as well. So I think people were linking your YouTube channel a little bit earlier. I'll see if I can find that link real quick. But for the YouTube videos that I've linked, I'll link this one more time. You can just subscribe to the channel or just click on the channel from there, and you can go through and check out a lot of those different combos on his stream or on his YouTube channel. All right.
Those, just saying, if you look at my really distant Reaper videos, those are way back when, like, those. Just ignore those. Those are not good. Don't watch the videos in the way back.
So, okay, so everybody's going to go to your channel, and now they have to watch those videos now that you've mentioned it. Why? Have to watch it. Have to watch it.
Dang, you're right. I should have just not said anything.
Yeah, probably not. But now they're going to. So you got more views. That's important, I think. All right, so any other things we wanted to cover in player mentality, how to act as a Reaper? The last thing we've really got on our schedule is to take questions from chat. Any other things you guys wanted to cover before we go there?
Try to link all your skills together, like don't do a Sundering Strike without glyphing anything.
Ooh.
For example, like this is how long it takes if you don't chain it. Usually to chain it, you would want to double shear into a Grimstrike.
Okay. And I remember when, I think we had Hawk on once before, and he was mentioning Reapers are talked about as like spacebar heroes, but you can actually get a lot of these things off quicker if you don't use the spacebar combo and instead just click the abilities yourself. Is that something that you'd still agree with?
That's true, yeah.
So it's very easy. One of the things that I like about Reaper, because I've mentioned this multiple times and I'll continue to mention it on all of our streams, I'm not very good at understanding a lot of the deeper mechanics in TERA, the good combos, that different kind of stuff. So Reaper is very simple for me to get started with because there's spacebar combos. So probably for newer Reapers coming in and trying it out, it's going to be simple to get used to at first, but learning which skills actually combo off each other and then pressing them instead of using spacebar probably be a big benefit. Would you agree?
Wait, excuse me?
That was a long question.
It is. It wasn't a. I guess the question was really just if you agree with for newer Reapers, one of the things that they should focus on is learning the skills that chain off of each other rather than relying on spacebar.
Yeah, that is quite true because spacebar is kind of a bad thing to keep in the back of your head.
So you're setting yourself up to fail. You're training yourself to do a not as optimal, I guess, chain.
Going back on that, remember how I said that Reaper is a really flexible class in regards to combos?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you're limiting yourself to spacebar means that you're limiting yourself to one combo. But then, there's combos that are better in different, moments against different classes. We actually have a different variety of combos you do depending on the class we're comboing. So if you're just pressing spacebar, you're just limiting yourself, and you can't really take advantage that you should be.
Practice makes perfect.
And the thing about Reaper is it doesn't take much to be a good Reaper because everything's kind of just laid out for you. You just mash spacebar a few times, you get like kills left and right. But then if you want to really go beyond just good Reaper into like mechanically good Reaper, then you got to actually invest the time into like really reading your skills, really like playing with them and seeing what each of them can do.
Are there solid resources that you would recommend to newer Reapers, that maybe some blog somewhere or another YouTube video, something like that you guys have learned from, or maybe you helped set up, something like that?
I currently have a guide. It's not finished, but a lot of it's done. Did you want me to link that?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. You can either link it in Skype chat or feel free to link it in the Twitch chat.
Again, this guide is just my personal preference, and there's a lot of pictures and GIFs, if you like GIFs. It has a lot of those, and YouTube videos. So yeah, check it out. Thanks.
All right, link in chat. Cool. Let's see here. So there was one thing that came up. It's completely unrelated to Reaper. Zooey, you said GIF. Towlot, is it GIF or GIF? What do you think?
Oh gosh.
GIF.
GIF. I'm Asian. That's my excuse. I'm Asian.
I always love it when I always love the discussion, GIF or GIF. It's like it's not important at all, but I always like hearing people's opinions. All right. Anything else you guys wanted to cover before we take some questions from chat? It seems like there's a lot of crazy talk in chat, but we'll probably get some good questions out of it.
Do you have anything?
No. We could take questions from the chat.
All right. So chat, do you have a question for either of these guys on either the way Reapers are played, or you can ask them personal questions. They don't have to answer it, but if you have questions for them, feel free. Let's see if I can find any questions in here. Let's see. Someone said, time to roll Slayer and Reaper and roll in the kills. I don't know, man. I don't know. There's a new class coming out. I heard it's going to be pretty cool, too.
Someone asked in the chat, tell me how to chain off of double shear to whipsaw. Pretty much what you're missing there is you got a double shear, then you got a pendulum to space yourself, and then whipsaw. Now, if you have too much attack speed, you don't want to mash it too fast, or else you're just gonna overlap the staggers, because pendulum stagger comes out really fast. So you gotta kind of time it. You gotta go pendulum, double shear, pendulum, then whipsaw.
Double shear, pendulum, whipsaw.
Yeah, that's it's a really good basic combo we have.
Let's see here. I feel like I should learn my Zerker before Reaper as a newer player, but both are hard, IMO. But I really enjoy Reaper, so looking forward to it. Have either of you guys played with Zerker before?
In threes?
Not really.
Or just, I guess just playing as Zerker to max level, just to have experience with it.
I actually have played Zerker. What was the question again, though?
It was more of a statement, and I just wanted to kind of just hear what you guys had to say. It was, I feel like I should learn my Zerker before Reaper as a newer player, but both are hard, IMO. Reaper seems to be more of a, I think it's designed around easy to learn, hard to master kind of thing. But between Zerker and Reaper, would you say that one is easier than the other?
Definitely Reaper. Definitely.
I say Reaper too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Zerkers, you have to manage your KDs a lot better, manage your staggers and your buffs. You have to manage your buffs a lot better. Reapers, we only have one buff to press. Not too hard.
Fair enough. Let's see. Zooey, what race are you?
What race?
Oh, IRL. That's what they were saying. Okay, I was gonna say that's kind of a weird question since there's only one race you can be. You don't have to answer that.
I think I did. I think I did when I pronounced GIF.
Yeah. I mean, you said Asian. That's good. Done. There you go, guys.
Done.
We already said that, so I don't know why they asked that question. Let me scroll down a little bit. Oh, let's see here. It's neither GIF or GIF. It's an idiom, not an acronym. Okay. I don't know why we got into... I shouldn't have asked the question. Let's see. Do you bind your WASD with spacebar? I do. Let's see. How did you guys level your Reapers to 65? How should I level my Reaper from 60 to 65 quickly and effectively?
Did you want to answer that question, Towlot?
Yeah, I just did every story quest, and then grind BAMs.
Story quest and BAMs.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Like Reaper, you make one, 80% of the work is done for you.
Here's something that I actually had a question about, because when I leveled my Berserker, I did a ton of Vanguard quests. Probably a bad idea. I don't know if it's a bad idea or not, because I just did Vanguard quests up, leveling up pretty much, and when I hit 65, I had a long way to go on my the main story quests. Should you be following that main story line, or going off or getting distracted by these Vanguard quests? Is that bad?
I think Vanguard quests are pretty good for along the way. You know, as you're playing, just pick them up as you go, but stick to the main storyline quests.
Don't get distracted like I did.
Right.
I'd sign on every day and I'm like, ooh, I got all these quests again. I'm right here. I'll just finish them instead of going on to the next zone.
Someone actually just reminded me of one of the things I want to talk about. They said, well, on top of how high is my ping, what's a good ping for Reapers? 10. Honestly, the lower the better. My ping is 120, so there's a lot of things I can't do. Like when I go into normalized PvP, I can't do pendulum into whipsaw. I can't do double shear into pendulum. I can't do a lot of things, but that's because of my ping. So I'm pretty gimped. If you have a low ping though, you can do all of that. You could do combos in normalized PvP without the need for attack speed. If you have really low ping too as a Reaper, you can shadow dash while being staggered, which is really funny. Lancers can't even shield barrage if you have low ping. So low ping, really good Reaper. It equates.
So the lower the ping, the better you are.
That's how it is for a lot of classes though. Lower the ping, better the class.
Especially when we're talking about PvP. I think
Right.
a couple people have mentioned it too. It's like in any game in PvP, the better ping you have, the better chance you are to win. The better the chance it is that you will win. What's my ping? I don't even know. 53. All right, we're doing good.
How to aim soul reversal. To aim soul reversal, you aim above their head. Literally, the hitbox is so wonky. You could toss that thing straight up over their head and it'll hit them. Or you just throw it straight at them too. Yeah. Always aiming up is better than aiming down.
All right, let me see if I can find any other questions in here. Let's see. Towlot, looks like you've got a lot of fans. A lot of fans in this chat. a lot of the chat isn't really even conversation about Reapers. It's just conversations about Towlot. All right, let's see. Are there any good other classes that are good with 3v3 with Reaper? I think we answered that, but if you guys wanted to cover it again real quick, I think that'd be helpful for that question in chat.
You go first.
Wait, I just lost my train of thought because of a GVG battle. My bad. Whoops.
The question was, we've already answered it. They may have missed it, and it's kind of a simple question that we can go through real quick. Pretty much good combinations for Reapers in 3v3. to be playing with?
Good combos, as in to chain off your Lancer or just by yourself.
For other classes that are good to pair up with in 3v3 would be, again, Lancers. Warriors are really good too, and Slayers are really good too. When I'm teaming with a Lancer, I aim to kind of peel, and then when my Lancer does like a big, like, I don't know, big crit or Giga, I kind of just hop onto the next target. But if I have a Slayer or Warrior with me, we tend to double up on a single target, mostly the healer, because we have such good lockdown. Slayer, Warrior, you can kind of just pick the target and just take him out. ICB, in cold blood and Shadow Reaping together on the same field is one of the scariest things to see.
It's just a pain train.
Right.
Just a pain train. Zerker Reaper is good too. Pain wheel.
I've actually ran Zerker Reaper a lot because one of my friends is a Zerker. The problem that we ran into is that we don't have that like really reliable like CC, I mean, sure, I can smite a single target, but that's not going to do much. I can cable a single target. Zerkers, they can KD train a single target, but it's always nice to have that AoE option. Well, I guess then again, Reapers are AoE. We can, Shadow Burst. I kind of contradicted myself. I tend to do that. So, you know what? Zerker Reaper, it can work, but it's hard. It can work. You just gotta be good, not Zooey. Just gotta not be Zooey.
Being brutal, man. Being mean to yourself. Gotta have faith.
Again, I'm mostly a 1v1 hero. I don't really have the ping to get into 3. I do once in a while, but no. It's nothing. It's nothing.
All right. I think most of these questions have been taken care of in chat. So I think we could probably wrap it up. It's been just over an hour as well. We've covered a lot of different good stuff. Towlot, before we go, any shout-outs that you want to make or any special things you want to say as well?
If you want to join Manifest, PM Zillion for recruitment.
There you go.
And you should also pray for Shioli.
Should everybody be doing that, though?
Everyone typing global that right now.
It's going to be probably 20, 30 seconds behind before we start seeing that in there.
I'm ready for this.
All right. And how about any ways to pimp yourself out? You got any Twitch channels? I know you said you had the Twitch channel. Did you want to link it in chat? Or, I mean, you're talking in chat, but do you want to link it?
Sorry, I was just laughing at the Twitch chat. Excuse me?
They say it's your birthday. Is it your birthday?
No, it's February 27th.
Oh, okay. Well, happy birthday anyways. Since
Thanks,
people are saying it in chat, happy birthday. So I'll say it too. All right. Zooey, how about you? Any shout-outs? Pimp yourself out. Any links that you want to share?
I think I shared all my links, but in terms of shout-outs, shout out to Sky. He's the reason why I'm not in the stream and why I'm in TR. I'm just kidding. Well, not kidding that he's the reason why I'm in TR. But yeah, shout out to Sky. He's the guild leader of Challenge. Shout out to everyone in Challenge, actually. Shout out to Sumori and Painwheel for not killing me in Freywin Canyon when you guys see me.
That's very nice.
Yeah. Shout out to people in the stream too. Thank you for watching.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on and sharing your Reaper knowledge with the Twitch community. This will be going up on YouTube a little bit later, and we'll link as much as we can. If there's any extra links that you guys want me to add in the like the YouTube video or the highlights for Twitch, feel free to just message me on Skype with those links as well. But that will do it for Zooey and Towlot. Thanks a lot for coming on, you guys, and sharing all this information and spending the hour with me. And I'm sure everybody in chat had a good time as well.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
All right.
Thank you.
And I will say goodbye to you guys. If you guys had any additional questions for Towlot, it sounds like he's very willing for you to subscribe to his Twitch channel. And then for Zooey, he's got the YouTube channel to check out. Thanks a lot, guys, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.
All right. That was Zooey and Towlot. Towlot from MT and Zooey from Tempest Reach coming out and talking about Reapers. So if you missed any of this stream, feel free